She's a writer, editor, photographer. She is the founder and director of the annual Dartbrook Writers Retreat in Keene, New York, a 5-day masterclass in memoir in New York's Adirondack High Peaks, recently named by the Sydney Morning Herald as one of the world's best writers' retreats. She also has an essay in the book Shades of Blue by Amy Ferris, sold out in the lobby, that you can buy after the show. Today, Kitty Sheehan will read for us Your Empress Has Gone Missing.
I have to follow that. Look at me. You're here. You're the same Jessie we all love. You're that girl. She's here. She's you. Look right into my eyes. I'm here, you're here. I sit at my desk watching my dear writing partner Jessica sob and shake as Kathy, our mentor, holds her firmly by the shoulders, speaking inches from her face. Jessica is in a daily battle with anxiety. I know this, I just don't understand what it means. I've not experienced anxiety. Kathy seems to know exactly what to do. This awes me. I never guessed she'd get right in Jessie's face like this, but of course that's what you do. Jessie's eyes dance in terror. She's unable to move or speak. She spends the next week or so at the hospital. After seeing how Kathy handled the situation, I feel comfortable going to visit her there and talking to her about the event when she comes back to work. She tells me anxiety feels like an electric current surging through your body 24/7. Like the feeling you get at the top of the first hill on a roller coaster, but it doesn't go away when you come down from the ride. It keeps all your cylinders firing, sometimes until you're in a ball yourself, exhausted from the energy drain. I'm 10 years sober at this point in my life. My body's acquainted with the quick surge of adrenaline when something upsetting happens. As a dedicated alcoholic, extremely dedicated, I set myself up for the rush on a daily basis of this kind of fear, usually upon waking up each day. Jessie goes on to fight her anxiety in different ways on different days. We form a tight bond that will never break. I moved to New York. Now I'm 15 years sober. I'm moving right along through the world, writing and teaching, meeting new people, embracing friends of all ages. On an August Friday in 2016, I'm glued to the election news on TV. This male presidential candidate cannot be for real. I keep thinking, something has got to happen to crush his chances. It's got to be any day now. And here it is. This has to be it. A tape of him bragging about doing anything he wants to women without their consent. There he is, telling the world he grabs women by the genitals if he feels like it because he can get away with it. They don't even care, he says. The jolt of cortisol that plows from my toes to my head surprises me. I think it's because of the thrill of hearing the thing that will bring this man down. But as it turns out, his followers don't care. They say it's locker room talk. We should calm down. He's just kidding. It's not that bad. All men talk that way. The cortisol doesn't stop surging through me. I can't sleep. I can't think of this disgusting man and the scenario of him being president without crying. I'm filled with fear all day long. My choice of daily activity is to sit with my blanket and a cup of tea and do nothing else. After 3 weeks, it becomes clear I'm not okay. I need help. I saw my father overwhelmed by untreated anxiety. He closed himself off to the world rather than be afraid of it. For the first time, I see how this can happen to a person. I go to my therapist who already treats me for depression. That part's easy. I figure, what's the difference if we just add one more ailment to the mix? Piece of cake. I'm not sure why, but acupuncture also enters my mind as a treatment option as well. One of my close friends recommends a woman. In her office, I cry through half a box of tissues. I explain how upset I am and why. She looks directly at me. Would you like to tell me about the trauma you've suffered? The sexual abuse? Without hesitating, I tell her I was abused at age 13 by a family friend who was 18. He led me to believe it was consensual and normal. For years, I thought it was a rite of passage. It wasn't until many years later that I realized a 13-year-old couldn't consent to things she doesn't understand. But I worked through it, and I believed that it was all reconciled. It wasn't. The news reminded me daily that men thoughtlessly and cavalierly abuse women and get away with it, turning the anxiety I never knew I had into a faucet. After listening to me, the acupuncturist spoke. Here's the thing, she said. It's all about the Shen. An element of our human character is the Shen, she explained. The Shen give the orders and are like our guiding light. The Shen are said to reside in emptiness at the center of the heart. The Shen sit there observing all, letting the other energies control the emotions. The Shen are like our overall ruler, but sometimes they wander when the resting place is filled with turmoil. Your Empress, your Shen has flown away. She's gone missing. We have to get her back. She made it sound so easy. I thought back to the day I watched as Jesse's Empress left her, and how I knew immediately when she returned. Nothing anyone had said to me for months made as much sense as this. And when you get her back, your voice is going to come back. Your voice needs to be heard, she said. You have things to say that are going to help people. After the acupuncturist treats me several times, I speak easily of my past trauma to friends. First one, then another, when it fits into the conversation. I no longer care what people think. I just care that they know in case they need to hear this story. I'm selective. I don't just head to the diner and stand on a table with my proclamation. After the abuser wins the presidential election, a close friend tells me, everything will be fine, don't worry. I tell him why, for some of us, it will never be fine. I tell him my story. I've known him for almost 20 years, and he never knew this about me. He tells me to calm down. He tells me I'm overreacting. Yeah, we're not friends anymore. I comfort a relative who, like me, is traumatized by this man's win. Via texting, without pause, without leading her, she tells me her story, how the son of her father's friend raped her when she was 16. She's never told anyone before. We talk through this, and I offer her advice and a lot of listening. Something I thought I had put away and dealt with, this trauma, is now one of the lines in my palm, making me exactly who I am. It sets me apart. It guides my voice. It guides how I reach out to others. It guides me to march in a pink hat with a million other women on July 21st, 2017 in Washington, D.C. My anxiety has shown me my path. If I speak of it, breathe through it, know what it is, and embrace others who understand, my Empress will stay.